Hey there, everybody, PTPOP here, leading you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time. I got a great show for you today. Perfect timing for Halloween. Today on the show, we're diving deep into the world of monster making, mask magic, and the kind of craftsmanship that blurs the line between fantasy and reality. I guarantee you this is going to be a great show. We're joined by Andrew Freeman, co-founder of Immortal Masks, the industry-leading creators of hyper-realistic silicone masks for movies, haunted attractions, collectors, and die-hard horror fans. This guy's work and his staff's work is just tremendous. Immortal Masks was founded in 2010 by Andrew Freeman, George Frangadakis, and Chuck Banker, and the company has since become a powerhouse in the world of special effects and creative design. They're based out of Van Nuys, California, which is about 10 minutes from Hollywood, California. They've built a reputation for amazing cutting-edge design, incredible realism, and masks that are not just terrifying. They're wearable art. This is the truth. This is one of their masks right here. This is my Zontarsky mask. This is what they call their alien mask. I call it my alien green mask. I wear it for my Midnight Mutant Theater show, and I love it. I become a different person. You can kind of become a kid again, and you wear this, and I become Zontarsky. I just transfer or just become somebody else. And you're just going to love and hear how Andrew makes his mask. So, Andrew, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. Your masks are amazing.
Hello.
Hey there.
There we go. We're good.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's it going?
Awesome. I'm so glad to see you. I was wondering if I was in the right place because I always have a problem with Zoom for some reason.
Right. Well, yeah, hopefully you didn't hear all that gross shit we were just talking about.
No, was it something disgusting?
I guess, yeah. You know, the guys that make rubber monsters are always fucking around.
Yeah, you're not exactly. That's cool, though. I mean, it's got to be a fun place to work.
It is. Yeah, sometimes, there are stressful scenarios or deadline situations. Right now is the busy season, so we are cranking away, but I think everyone here loves what they do, so we definitely keep it light,
That's awesome. I've been watching some of your videos on YouTube where you guys are just, somebody made a little documentary and showing you and your buddy Mike, or is it? No, it's George. George.
George. Yeah. I met him at another shop, aside from Immortal Masks, and it was an effect. And I was like a key artist there, doing a lot of the designs and sculptures and paintwork. And I was even going on set, doing animatronics and on-set application. And George was hired to be the shop supervisor, and that's kind of like where we first met. And once I moved on from that shop, and Immortal was getting bigger, and I think George was actually going to move back home, I hit him up and was just like, hey, can you come by my shop and tell me if you think, I think I just wanted his advice as a shop supervisor, like how I could tighten it up. And around that time, we got a big, like a client who's a billionaire, and he wanted to buy 100 masks to set up a haunted attraction on like the front lawn of his mansion.
Wow.
It was all for his son. His son was a huge Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights enthusiast. His son knew that I was one of the sculptors for a lot of the masks. So his dad, being this billionaire, had some connections, and he got Universal's permission for us to remake some actual mazes from one of the years that this kid chose. And they sent like blueprints and stuff, and it was a pretty big deal. And George was kind of instrumental in helping me oversee that size of a project. And so I think at that time he was just kind of like a shop supervisor for me. Like I brought him on for that, and after seeing how well he dealt with it, I offered him a partnership, because as an artist, I guess it's hard for me to deal with the business side of stuff sometimes. Just creating cool art is like hard enough. So
I went online and bought this really horrible alien mask made of, I think this is rubber.
Okay, maybe latex it looks like.
Latex, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've recorded a few music videos with it, and it was horrible. When you move your head, it stays straight.
It's like a bucket almost. It doesn't really conform to your head shape.
Yeah, and the mouth doesn't open. And then I found you online, and I love your mask because the mouth, it opens when your mouth opens. And I thought that was like, I'm like a little kid again. Like, this is so cool. Where did this all come from? I mean, how did you go from just doing visual effects to starting your own mask business? Was there a dream? Did you have a dream of making masks or?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. I've always been drawing monsters since I was a kid. I've always been fascinated with creatures that when we'd go to the library, which is, I guess I sound old because I don't even know if kids go to the library and check out books.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would always check out the same book. So there's certain books about like cryptozoology, like Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
I was always checking those books out, and then I was always also checking out like books that had images of like the creature from the Black Lagoon and
Yeah.
like some of the old school monsters. I was just really fascinated with creatures, I guess. So
Yeah.
drawing monsters was kind of like maybe where it all started, and even in high school, I went to like a Catholic school, so it was kind of strict, I guess. We had to wear uniforms, and it was maybe more strict than just public school, but sometimes they would try to like combine art class with religion to maybe like kill two birds with one stone kind of thing. And I remember I got in trouble one time because they said, draw your favorite passage from the Bible. And I knew the story of David and Goliath. The story of David and Goliath has always been one of my favorite stories. Like, I guess the idea of like a giant and giants in general kind of always fascinated me and still does. But the story is that David kills the giant with a slingshot and a stone, and then he has to decapitate him and present the head to the king at the time and show him like, here's the champion that I slayed. And so I drew that part of the scene where he's standing on the Goliath's back and he's kind of like pulling his hair and he's like cutting his throat as he's decapitating him.
Yeah.
And everyone, all the priests and teachers and principal, they all freaked out and called my mom in, and they're like,
"Oh, how funny!
Look what he's doing." And they kind of said the same thing. They said, "Well, this is part of the story." They said, we read the Bible and like it's in there. Like did he not decapitate Goliath at the end?" And they're like, "Well, yes." And they're like, "Well, wouldn't there be a bunch of blood if that happened?" And it just. So I always had really supportive parents in that regard.
That's cool.
Even though they sent me to Catholic school, I think they did that maybe just so I would get an advantage in the education system, which I do feel the private school system in the 80s did have maybe an advantage to what the public schools had to offer. So in that regard, I'm very fortunate that I did go there and sparked up some good friendships and learned about culture, even though I was raised Catholic. I'm not like a practicing Catholic, so to speak. I do believe in I guess other theories. There are parts of the Bible that interest me and stuff, but and parts of the Bible I do believe. But since you have an alien, I figure I do believe in in aliens and stuff like that. And it's there's that show Ancient Aliens. There's a lot of theories that kind of align with those beliefs and stuff in terms of what's out there and us not being the only thing out there. I don't know. I guess aliens have always fascinated me too. Not just they're creatures, I guess too, just like humans if they are out there. But there's always that idea or the idea of the gray alien.
Sure.
Like from Communion and the descriptions of them that I've always been kind of fascinated with.
Yeah, it's the whole idea that there's something other than us out there has always fascinated me. Even when I was a little kid, and I'm probably considerably older than you. I'm about to turn 60, and we used to play in the backyard, my friend and I. And when we were 10, we'd sit there with binoculars and telescope, looking for UFOs, looking for spaceships, because we had seen all these. Like I've got the Metaluna mutant here from this planet Earth. I think it's called. Or I can't remember what it's called.
We're thinking about doing that Metaluna style mask at some point.
Oh, cool.
Where,
Yeah.
I don't want to, copy the original design, but I do love that idea. And even with like the claw hands type thing, I think
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
like our version of that kind of alien.
What was the first mask you ever made?
I guess, yeah, well, I guess the first mask I ever made was probably a mask for Universal Studios. It was I guess it was like I guess they call it the Freak, which it's not the Freak that's in the Immortal catalog. Excuse me. It was a mask that I made for Universal Studios, which is where I kind of learned how to make masks. I did a lot of sculpting. I went to a trade school in Los Angeles called Associates in Arts, and at this school there was a lot of sculptors that work in the effects industry that were teaching classes on the weekends. And I was fortunate enough to take a couple classes with some of these master sculptors who kind of taught me the beginnings of sculpture, I guess. And I took that home and just kind of practiced making little busts and full scale busts until I kind of figured out, because of the internet, that if I wanted to paint one of my busts, my sculptures, I'd have to make a mold of it and then create a mask or some kind of bust that would be paintable. So I realized that mask making was probably going to be the easiest way to take one of my sculptures and finish it. And I contacted a local effects shop and basically asked them if they would spend a weekend with me, and I would pay them. I think I offered like a couple $100 just for their time to
Mm-hmm.
explain to me how to make a mold of one of my sculptures. And they were nice, but they were just kind of like, "Oh, sorry, we're really busy and we don't have time for that." And I was just kind of like, "Okay, well, I guess that's that." And then maybe like a week or 2 weeks later, that same studio contacted me this time, or they were like, "Oh, hey, so you say you have sculptures? Do you mind if I see, the quality of your work?" And I sent them some photographs in an email of the sculptures that I had, and then they asked if I could go down there and meet them in person, and and then it led to them offering me a job working for Universal Studios,
Wow.
making masks for them. So I was super lucky. I think I'm one of the few rare stories that I got paid to learn all this stuff, basically, and I learned, from people just that were in the studio doing it. So the I guess the information I was learning was hands on, and I would stick around after my shift was over and watch people and ask questions, and it was and even eventually hire some of them and learn from them directly. But yeah, I was lucky enough to start with Universal Studios, and I think the very first mask I made for them was like a kind of like an elephant man looking mask called the Freak. I think there's pictures of it on my Facebook. I have like a really old album on there that just exists from when I first started my Facebook. But maybe not my proudest work, but definitely important in terms of
Sure.
learning. How to make a mask and stuff. And at Universal Studios, I maybe in the 7 years I worked for Halloween Horror Nights at this studio, I probably made close to maybe like 300 masks or something. Different
Wow.
stuff. So I really, I guess, learned how to, I guess, for lack of a better term, sharpen my teeth there, and and that's where I kind of learned, I guess, the materials and stuff like that. Because it was a Halloween event, we would a big Halloween event. We would have to prepare in the summertime, so usually we would get together maybe in the end of June,
Sure.
and then we would be making all these masks and prosthetics and dead bodies and all this fake dead bodies and all this stuff, and then we would take it to the event in the month of October, and then come November, it would kind of be dead though in that studio, and that's what kind of led me to seek work in other studios that were working on films and stuff like that, and that's where I worked at the studio where I met George, and I guess eventually I kind of saw like, what would happen was this, because I worked at a Halloween event for 4 months. So it was usually about 4 months out of the year. For the other 6 months out of the year, working at these studios with some of these kind of hot shot effects artists from the 80s and stuff, who I've become friends with some of them, and some of them have, we've become friends and then kind of lost touch. But a lot of them in the beginning would kind of turn their nose up to the word Halloween. They would be like, "Oh, hey, Andrew, like, what studio were you working at before we, started this project?" And I would say, "Oh, I was working at Halloween." And before I could even say Halloween Horror Nights, like I would say like Halloween Horror, and they would just like, "Oh, never mind," and they would put their headphones back on.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I was kind of like, "Oh shit, maybe I shouldn't talk about Halloween to these guys because they've worked on Terminator and Jurassic Park and all these movies." And I was like, "Yeah, they probably don't. They probably think Halloween's a joke." So yeah, I even made like a mental note, like when I work with these old timers, like don't talk about Halloween.
Oh, wow.
But the flip side to that was when I was working the Halloween event, these clients, these haunted attractions, specifically Universal Studios, they wanted they want their event to mimic a film set. They want their quality of their haunt or their haunted attraction to be film quality, so that when people pay tickets and go to this immersive, interactive type haunted attraction, the makeups, the masks, the set, the acting, everything should be, as film quality as possible. So in that regard, the people that were spending lots of money, the clients, and I think at the time I heard that Halloween industry was something like a $6 billion industry. These haunted
Wow.
attractions.
Really?
Not,
$6 billion?
yeah, and that was maybe 10 years ago. So
Oh,
I haven't.
wow.
It's kind of remained in that area. Some years it's gone up, and then some years it's gone down. But for the most part, it's kind of hung in that area. But um, then I started thinking, okay, well, there's a lot of more haunted attractions than just Universal Studios, Florida, and Hollywood. There's a lot of much smaller mom and pop type haunted attractions, and then there's the ones in between that are almost theme park size, like the Netherworld and the Darkness and things like that. So, and everything in between, like these Field of Scream franchises and things like that. So then I started kind of just developing silicone masks, and I guess at one point I had to kind of like take the leap away from the studio that I was working at with Horror Nights, because they were basically saying, "Hey, listen, like either you follow your passion with this silicone mask thing that I was always talking about it and trying to get them on, silicone mask," and they were like, the mask we made for Universal Studios, and all the masks that I learned making, those were foam latex masks, which typically are used as background masks in the film industry. They don't really take wear and tear because foam latex is it's a much softer material than the older latex mask that you have. Like, even though that mask doesn't have movement and it's kind of like a bucket, like it is probably durable for the most part. It's going to be hard to tear, where foam latex wants to tear. It's very soft, and which was another reason why in the very beginning I created a prototype where I put like a material inside the silicone, kind of impregnated or encapsulated it within the silicone itself. So
Yeah, I saw that on your website. What do you call it? It's like a sheath or a cloth sheath.
Yeah, we call it power mesh, and
That's it.
it's a material it's a four-way stretch material that doesn't minimize the movement. So, when you need the mask to stretch a certain amount when you're putting it on your head, and you also want it to stretch a certain amount when you're moving your neck and opening your mouth. We designed this hood that we encapsulate within the silicone to kind of have panels to maximize the movement. So every kind of thought or every process of the production has been kind of well thought out for the kind of maximization of the comfort of the wearer. The Alien is one of the masks that doesn't have nose holes, and there are a handful of masks that don't have nose holes, but I feel like it's kind of like a subtle sacrifice that needs to be made to really make this thing look not human, you know? So
Yeah.
if I could have put the nose holes right where the human nose holes are, but I feel like people would have, they would have seen the human more. Where the more I can do to try to hide something and design it look less human. There's a kind of a term I like using with some of the sculptors that I work with, which is I say hide the human. You know, because in some masks, like a realistic old man, I want it to look very human and as human as as realistic as possible. But then in some masks, I definitely want to try to hide the human because I want it to look, otherworldly or from the underworld or sometimes building like a skull or something like a zombie is tricky because you're having to make something look thin and emaciated on top of a human head and if I was wearing it, I've got a little bit of weight, so it would it's all about kind of cheating anatomy and having a good knowledge of not just human anatomy but maybe a little bit of animal anatomy and and I feel like then you can almost play like it's almost like Dr. Moreau where you can be like I'm going to make like a lizard guy, but this one I want to be 60% human and 30% or 40% lizard, or maybe 30% lizard and 10% insect.
So are you the primary designer, or do you have other designers that work with you?
Yeah, I'm the main designer, art director, but I do work with other artists that bring pretty heavy duty designs to the table on their own. For instance, right now I'm working with the video game company Blizzard. Their lead designer, his name's Ben, and his name's Ben Ert. It's his last name is spelled ERDT. But if you Google Ben Ert images, you'll see a lot of really cool 3D like video game style creatures, and he's just really good at designing, in his own right. So we'll come up with an idea. Like right now, he's working on something that we're kind of for the working title, and it might become its actual name. We're calling it a Snailian, which is like an alien snail-looking thing, but its eyes have like these kind of stalks and stuff, and it's very snail-looking. And he does a really excellent job with the whole hiding the human thing that I was talking about. But for the sake of him being, in my opinion, like kind of a genius designer in his own right, I kind of he showed me some designs that he did, and I kind of picked one, and then we'll talk about that design. We'll kind of I guess segregate it as a design, and then away from the other ones, and then talk about, okay, if we made this into a mask, what's the plausibility of the mouth movement if based on his design? So then there might be little tweaks where we say, hey, the mouth design might have to change this way so the guy can open and close. Or I like to design these masks so you can kind of party in them too, because they're cool masks, and I like when I go to parties wearing them. I know people are going to trip out, but then I feel like they trip out even more when they see it like chugging a beer or like some cigarette or something.
Yeah, is there any way that you could make these eyes blink? Like somebody?
Well, I mean, yeah, technically, I mean, it would require like pretty advanced animatronics, though. I guess
like it's not even like a little bulb you could squeeze or something that would make them open and close, or would it be that too complex?
It would still. I guess the trick is, the silicone has weight to it. It's. I designed that one with a foam insert to try to alleviate some of the weight, but I'm sure. Once it goes on, it's kind of, I feel like I compare it to like a book bag where if you're holding a bag, like a backpack full of books in your one arm, it's going to feel heavy. But the second you put it on your shoulders, it distributes your weight. You're able to like hike miles and shit with it. But I feel like that's the same with the mask. Like when people hold it in their hands, they're like, wow, this has weight. But then once they put it on, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And it is like that. But for the sake of that weight that is just inherent in the the viscosity of the silicone when we pour it, and the nature of how, we're developing something right now where it's basically an animatronic, but it's we're trying to make it where it's actor driven, where basically your jaw movement had like there'd be like an understructure, like an underskull that has to be hard, and it has to be hard to accommodate for a series of cables that they're basically like it's like a goldenrod type cable that has it's like a cable within a cable. It's like a plastic housing and then a little metal spiral cable that goes in, that's housed inside of that. And those would in the case in the thing we're developing, we're trying to create like a I guess a hyper realistic chimpanzee or gorilla mask where the muzzle comes really far off the mouth, but with this cable system, it's kind of like I guess like a Chewbacca mask where when you open the mouth, this lip activation peels the lips back, and then when you close, it closes completely. So if you're just sitting there, it would look like just a docile, chill primate like a chimpanzee, but then the second you start opening the mouth, like the lips curl back. And we're thinking about trying to have a secondary motion where on the brows, like we can go from kind of like sympathetic brows to like kind of angry. So it can go from depending on how far you open the mouth, like you can kind of hang in between like a neutral, or you can make it go from docile to like pretty insane, angry looking. If we're able to develop that, the alien is a popular mask, and there is a possibility that we could try to use that same type of wire pulley system so that maybe when you it would be rather than something that you would hold, or maybe there's a possibility that if that works, maybe instead of your jaw activation, that way if you just have your mouth closed and you want to blink, maybe something that you squeeze or some kind of secondary motion that could be hidden in your pockets or in your hand or something.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really brilliant. Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the question, I guess. And we are trying to take these things to the next level, I guess. Because I guess when I entered the film industry in like the late, I guess I'm gonna say maybe the early 2000s. Mid 2000s. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess like CG and computer generated imagery. It kind of like was competing a lot with the practical effects and the old like rubber monsters and stuff. So when I came in my opinion, a lot of the studios that were doing like advanced animatronics kind of got the shit end of the deal because I feel like right when we were getting really good at this, CG came and said, anything that could have been that can be this now, and producers and directors were like, okay, well, yeah, and so a lot of these like wizards that were getting really good at this kind of had to stop because there was it was like a competition, and the CG guys were doing it faster and cheaper. I'm not going to say better because I hate how some of it looks. I feel like it would have looked. These movies would have been a lot cooler if they were in shots. But
how does AI affect what you do? I mean, are you still work for the studios, Universal, or?
Yeah, we just made a bunch of stuff for them, and last night was their preview night, and a bunch of my crew went and checked it out. And I guess for that, a very exact example of Halloween Horror Nights, which is like a theme park, human interactive event. I think for that very reason, I'm kind of luckily insulated from AI.
Okay.
Like there would have to be like some kind of competitor that would come out and specifically use AI designs and then have to interpret those AI designs either digitally or have an artist sculpt those to try to like somehow take me down. But because of the size of our catalog and our reputation with not just the quality of our work but our customer service, I feel like it would take like I don't know, like a lot to try to mess with this. I guess there's always going to be people that want to be something different.
Yeah.
And these masks, I feel like my main thing is just trying to like get people to know what they are and try to get them to catch on more, because I feel like such a small percentage of the population know about these, and if more people knew, it would be cool to like I have some celebrity clients that like they're some of the biggest like celebrities in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and they come to me for these masks to like disguise themselves, and like I want so badly to like post these videos because they even send me videos like here's a video of me taking it off, and I just fooled the people downstairs, and I
Yeah.
love it. It's the answer to all my problems, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck,
Yeah.
like, that's like the best commercial. Like these celebrities get paid millions of dollars to make commercials by some of these companies, and this is like a commercial they just sent me for free, thanking me, but I can't post it because then I would kind of
Yeah.
ruin the anonymity that is helping them. So it's kind of like but so I wish I just wish more people knew about these for the art's sake. It's my
Mhm.
art. I want more eyeballs to see it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that's why I called it Immortal. Even if I'm long gone and eyeballs keep seeing this shit, like job done. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Have you seen the music video by Paul McCartney where it's from his Paul McCartney 3 album during the pandemic, and Beck is in it, and and throughout the whole video it looks like Paul McCartney when he's young in the 60s, and then he approaches the camera and pulls off this rubber mask, and it's really Beck underneath it.
yeah.
I don't know if, but I always wonder. There's all this rumor that Paul McCartney died in 1966. There's an imposter in his place, and he's wearing a rubber mask and all this stuff. But it was
well, like I guess that he's definitely gone. I do remember that, and we've actually been asked many times to do those types of gags and stuff, and when we have for same thing celebrities. In fact, George got hit up by Michael Bay one time. He didn't realize it was Michael Bay because he has like I guess a friend named Michael Bay on Facebook, and he thought somehow this guy was calling him, but it was like Transformers director Michael Bay, and like and he was calling us to ask if if we could quickly make like that type of gag for a mask pull off thing, and it's for a Super Bowl commercial, and he needed it in like a week, and it was like, man, like that's like kind of impossible. But then I think we told him no. We said, sorry, it's just, if you gave us a little more time, we could do it, but it's impossible. Like no one can do that, because he wanted it had to look like what's that guy's name? Eric or Rodriguez, A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez.
From the Yankee.
Yeah. So, and he's got a specific look, and I was like, man, like no one can make a mask that looks like him in less than a week with all the hair work and everything that's involved.
Yeah.
But then we found a mask, and we ended up, it ended up working because we, silicone's kind of a funny thing. Like I was like, it was a fully punched mask, but it didn't quite resemble A-Rod. But if I gave it a haircut, then it did. And so that's what I did. I got an actual like a straight razor, and like all the hair work that was in there. I just like gave this thing a haircut, and it resembled him not enough where we sent them pictures, and they're like, yeah, we'll take it. And they used, and we we've been approached. There's also there's the entertainment side of this, which is what I enjoy. From being the kid that loves drawing monsters and being curious about aliens and shit. And I'll always be that way. I love that stuff. Like I still love giants, and I'm still painting pictures about giants and stuff. But there's sometimes we get contacted about like weird things, like there's government agencies that want disguises to get people across like I don't know borders and shit. That they're like there's the facial rec. So there's two sides to the coin. There's government. We've been approached by government agencies that want us to make kind of like these disguise masks, and then we're also approached by companies that create facial recognition technology that are aware that we make these masks for people, and they're trying to basically advance their technology so they'll buy masks from us, custom masks, and try to use their I don't know what like part of me is thinking I don't know if this is true or not because they don't share the results, but it almost seems like they're like trying to use like infrared like predator type vision to like pierce through the veil of a mask and still pick up your heat signature and almost pick up your facial recognition based on heat signature type stuff. So it seems like that's part of the tests they're doing and things like that, knowing that we exist and that we, we definitely work with, the FBI and like our government in trying to not create masks for like bad people. Cause I just want to make fucking aliens and monsters. I don't know.
Yeah. You don't want to get stuck working for the CIA and then you're
Right.
a slave to them.
Yeah, but there have been instances where people contact us for what we think is just a custom mask, and then we agree. Sometimes we don't want to do it. We say, you know what, tell them we'll do it, but for like I don't know, like $70,000, and then the guys come back and we're like, okay, we'll do it. And we're like, fuck, and now we have to do it, and then
Damn.
yeah, and then at one point, one of these things, the FBI hits us up and they're like, hey, we need to talk, and it's like, okay, shit. But we're always cooperative with the authorities if something's weird.
Wow. So
and then
are you going to do you get in trouble for admitting to this in a podcast?
I don't think so.
They're not going to knock on your door and say, hey, what are you doing? Tell them that you didn't sign any NDAs or anything with them. Or
no, in fact, I hooked them up, man. They came here without a subpoena and without a warrant, and
wow.
They basically said, they can come back with that stuff. But I told them, no, I'll talk to you. And I'm cooperative. I'm not trying to like help fucking, other governments create, or do bad shit or get.
Sure.
And, I get apparently though that's kind of part of the whole thing. Anytime another government comes to the U.S. to do business over a certain amount of money, I guess they're supposed to clear it with, they're supposed to do certain things, and these people didn't do that. But surprisingly enough, not surprisingly enough, our government still knew about everything they were doing, and they had. So there's nothing I can do except for cooperate. I'm not trying. I'm on our side.
That's just got to be fascinating. I mean, do you wake up every day and just feel like you're the luckiest guy that this is what you do for a living?
I do, yeah.
It's got to.
Take it for granted. I love this stuff. Yeah, I can make whatever I want, and we have interesting clients. We get asked to do interesting things. You mentioned dildos earlier, and like we've been asked to make weird alien monster dildos. And
okay.
And we've considered it because it's just like I don't know. Like there is always like I'm always making monster heads and monster sleeves and monster bodysuits. But sometimes I'm always like, well, what does this thing's dick look like? I don't know. But
That's hilarious.
I don't think too hard about it. But if someone's going to pay me to develop it, but then sometimes it's like, yeah, you know what? We don't know enough about this stuff, and it's we're good at masks, and so that's what we enjoy doing. That's what we're good at. So sometimes, even though we get asked to do lots of, things, for the most part, we like to just stick with what we're good at,
What movies could we see on YouTube or on Netflix that your masks are in that you've done in your shop there? Not when you were at Universal, but
there's so we did some background masks on the last Guardians of the Galaxy film, which was actually, I think it was their Christmas special, right?
It was 3, but you can't really see it in 3, but you can see it in the Christmas special. But they were for the third one.
So yeah, we do some sometimes big budget background masks. Like we did some masks for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Those were background characters that aren't Immortal masks though. They were sculpted to look like Ravengers. There's a scene where there's a big Ravager battle, and we sculpted some background characters like that. Same situation for the movie Furiosa. We made there's a scene where someone's set on fire, and silicone isn't fire. It's not fire safe, but it is heat resilient. So if you combine this fire gel with a silicone mask and have all the safety people and precautions, like a lot of times people will use silicone masks to protect their stuntmen during these fire scenes. So if you watch Furiosa, if you see someone on fire during Furiosa, it's most likely like one of our bodysuits under there. And then I guess actual movies that have used this are usually more like lower budget, I guess. There's one horror movie called The Rental.
Okay.
The Rental is like a horror movie. It's about, I don't know, some people that I don't know, rent like a Airbnb, and then shit starts going around. At the very end, the killer kind of reveals itself, and that's an Immortal mask.
Excellent.
The old timer, without giving it away. And then there's another one called Blood and Honey, which is like a Winnie the Pooh slasher movie. It's kind of silly. It got a lot of
Winnie the Pooh slasher.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. So like a couple years ago, we make a lot of. I was on a TV show called Face Off, and that TV show, it's like a competition. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like a Top Chef type show. But I'm on
Yeah.
season 12. If anyone wants to watch season 12, you can see.
Okay.
I actually make silicone. In the very last episode, I make a couple silicone masks. So
That's awesome.
But during the filming of that show, one of our challenges was I was tasked with making something whimsical. And a lot of the Immortal catalog is either realistic stuff or kind of horror, sci-fi, scary stuff. So when I was asked to make like a kind of a silly, whimsical, happy character, I came up with this like kind of like goofy looking woodchuck. And the story was that he builds homes for like homeless woodland creatures and shit. It needed like a nice story to go with it. So I came up with this character, and I tried to make him really like happy and whimsical, like a Disney character come to life, I guess. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but I gave him a chainsaw because he builds homes and stuff, But then, once I saw it all on set, I was like, oh fuck, it's actually kind of terrifying. It's like this big like Disney looking character like holding a chainsaw. I was like, like it wasn't on purpose, but I was like, man, it's actually like me trying to make something happy and child friendly. Like, it was even more terrifying. It turned out even more scary.
Have you seen the guy on TikTok that wears the Jason mask, and he pulls up alongside people in traffic, and he honks his horn and looks at them, and all the girls scream, and people or they laugh at him and stuff. But
yeah.
I've thought of going into the drugstore wearing this, when they go in to pick up some beer, pop or something, and
make sure you're in a safe part of town. You don't want to get shot or something.
Yeah, no, I thought, well, somebody will still think I'm, a crazy person or something, attack me.
Same thing. We make lots of Bigfoot masks, and these people are ordering these fully haired Bigfoots, and I'm like, hey, if you're out in the redwoods doing a photo shoot, please don't get shot, man.
Oh yeah. Bigfoot's big in southeastern Ohio. Everyone down there is chasing after Bigfoot in the forest.
Yeah, if you're gonna go wait till hunting season's over. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Do you have a mask that is like favorite?
Shit, man, that's a good question. It's hard to say because like I look at them like almost kind of like children. Like
Yeah.
Like it's funny when George and we do a big trade show in St. Louis called Transworld, and it's like the world's biggest Halloween trade show. Everything Halloween related at the show, and it's really cool. But every year we go there, and we have the world's largest display of silicone masks, somewhere between 600 and 700 masks.
Wow.
But we always have like the struggle of being like, what masks do we take, and which ones do we leave behind, or do we take one of everything? Because part of me, like you never know what haunted attraction, like for instance, we might have a character like a bird guy, and the bird guy doesn't really sell one year, so it's like maybe we should leave the bird guy home and take more of the aliens because people love the aliens.
Yeah.
But then it's like you never know if that's the year that some haunted attraction wants a bunch of bird things, and they don't see that, and they don't order it. They get it from someone else, and it's like, ah, shit. Like, then you see their advertisements like, oh, they did bird things, and they didn't buy a bird. So part of me is just like, I feel like it's like a family reunion. We should just bring them all. So I personally love all of them, I guess. But I know this might sound kind of hokey, but like my favorite mask is always like the next idea. Like I'm always really excited about like the next one. Like we're sometimes we try to like outdo ourselves, and so like the animatronic masks I was telling you about that have the like I'm really excited about that. I really hope that we can develop this. It's been one of the trickiest things I've been trying to develop, and if we can get it going, I think it'll really it'll basically open a whole new category of creatures that I can sculpt that will have secondary animations and stuff.
Kind of like the Predator with those.
Totally, yeah. The mandibles. I can do insect creatures that their things are kind of coiled, and then when you open your mouth, they can.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, even if we just take it to the realistic realm, and I have like just a realistic, scary looking like old grandma lady who maybe looks like just a normal lady, but when you open the mouth, like something happens, So,
Like from Psycho or something with the old lady in the attic and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like old people always scared me as a kid. I think it was the movie Poltergeist 2 with the Reverend Kane. Yeah, watching that movie did a number on me. So growing up, I was always afraid of scary looking old people. So I think like my last Halloween in front of my house, I filled it with a bunch of like really scary looking old people, and neighborhood got all fucked up over it. It was pretty cool.
You've got a mask on your site, which I think is an alien in like a bubble helmet.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Is the helmet part of that mask, or is that just something you put in for the photo shoot?
Yeah, that's the costume. So yeah, George is my business partner. He's really good at costuming. In fact, I think when I met him at that studio in the effects world, he kind of came from like a effects costuming kind of background, making Predator suits. Like you mentioned a Predator earlier. Like George was a big part of like the early online Predator community.
Wow.
And for that reason, he knew a lot of about materials and costuming and kind of specialty type costuming. So, in conjunction to being really knowledgeable about effects related things, he's also really knowledgeable in costuming related things. So, not just the costuming elements, but also where to source these things and stuff like that. So, it's a really important part, in my opinion, to help elevate these things. Like I said, we do use them in big, cinematic type movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, but to really showcase them as like movie quality, pieces, we like to, find movie quality wardrobe and pair it. We'll even go as far as to, if it's a character that has the actor's eyes exposed, we'll find contact lenses that hide the human, so to speak. So and even add teeth and things like that, just to kind of enhance the creature or character, to show people, look, if you did want to use this in a movie and you wanted to see what it might look like with all the bells and whistles, with the context, the teeth, here's a little example. And showing it in its most maximum form, in my opinion, is the best way to showcase it. Because then, if someone doesn't quite want that and wants a more simplified form, well, that's easy, But if people do want to see as far as it goes, like we like to kind of showcase that right out the gate, kind of introduce the character in its best light.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's really cool. I've always wanted some type of spacesuit, and whenever I find them online, they want like $10,000-$15,000.
Oh yeah.
Or these like Apollo 12 suits, and I'm like, boy, that's too much for me.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes he'll find suits, and they're a little bit of an investment for us. It's it's an easier buy, I guess, if we know that we'll get multiple use out of it, if we can showcase it with several different astronaut type characters or alien type characters. Real quick, getting back to one of your questions about other movies that people could see our stuff in. I just remembered there's another one coming out called Popeye The Slayer Man. And the interesting thing about this Winnie the Pooh and this Popeye thing is that they just Winnie the Pooh became a public domain, I think back in 2023 or 2022 or something, when they did that movie, which is why those people did that. It became public domain, and they can't get sued. So they made basically they took a friendly Winnie the Pooh character and made a horror slasher film out of it, and it did fairly well, to the point where I think they made a part 2, and maybe they're making a part 3. But
wow,
the same thing happened with Popeye. He became public domain a couple of years ago, and these filmmakers approached us and had us make custom Popeye masks. So if you see that movie, I'm sure it's just like Winnie the Pooh or Blood and Honey. So if the viewers have seen those, they're very probably similar. But if you like those kind of fun slasher films, that's another one. And also, we also make the mask for the band Ghost. There's I don't know if some of your viewers have also listened to the rock band Ghost, but if they do, they'd be familiar with the Papa Emeritus character, and we did his latest mask that he's currently touring with, which is more kind of a face mask, and then we did his last iteration of his Papa as well. I guess sometimes I do get to kind of leave my Immortal cave and work on film. Like I worked on Star Trek, the Star Trek Discovery series.
Wow.
And recently, I was lucky enough to work on the upcoming Frankenstein film. So that Guillermo del Toro directed. So that's coming out in a few months or pretty soon here. I guess they're starting to show it at some film festivals, but I think it's going straight to Netflix. I'm not sure the deal with that, but a friend of mine, Mike Hill, did all the creature effects for that, and he's a really amazing artist. And I was lucky just to have a very small part, just kind of helping out with some of the dead bodies and the Frankenstein body itself a little bit, but. Hopefully the movie's cool, but it's the stuff we made. It was fun to work on the project.
Do you get residuals from those films, or they pay you once? That's it.
Yeah, I just get paid for the work, and that's it. For me, it's not so much about the money. It's just more for about the opportunity, and I guess if this becomes an iconic movie, it's cool to have a hand in it, a little bit.
Is there anything that you want this to become? Do you have a vision of where you'd want to be in 5 to 10 years, or are you happy just doing what you're doing?
I guess I would like to just keep kind of advancing it. Like in 5 to 10 years, it'd be cool if I have that animatronic thing figured out and a whole line of apes and werewolves and aliens that can sneer and blink and do stuff. I'd also like to take things to the next level, like maybe more creature suits, more things, more, I don't know, big things that could, push our stuff more cinematic, I guess, as much as possible. Like sometimes, the hard part about making a product like we make is, considering the one size fits most factor, like a lot of these masks kind of, go by that rule here. We are starting to develop a mask that's a little bit bigger for really big guys, but for the male and female fit masks are one size fits most. And when it comes to masks, it's a little easier to try to find the happy, I guess, the happy place where that works. But when it comes to bodysuits and sleeves, it's a little harder just because people have just different sizes and the bodies and arms vary much more than just a skull and a neck. So there are challenges, but I'm really happy with where we are. I definitely want to keep building the catalog. We have I think like 500 characters. So
wow,
I feel like it'd be cool to eventually have like 1,000 characters.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe make it'd be cool to make like toys and shit at some point, like with where technology's heading, we're able to like 3D scan and 3D print.
Yeah.
Things like the alien mask, for instance. I was able to 3D scan the mask, and then in a program I made here. Do you mind? I'll grab it real quick and show you.
No, that's fine.
Right here. Well, basically, by 3D scanning the mask in a program, I was able to like make like these little kind of like busts of the alien. You kind of
Wow, that's great. I have a friend in LA that does 3D printing. Her company's called 3D Mantis. If you need someone to outsource
nice.
some of your 3D printing to, she printed the Metalina mutant for me, and
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
if you don't send me the link after we're done here, I would, in the email, I would love to check it out.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
This is also I did. Same thing. This is the same alien, but I just put a body on him.
Oh, this is him.
Yeah. It's I'll get it kind of close up there. You can kind of see. Yeah.
It's kind of like that one they saw in somebody's backyard. If you saw that recent video.
Yeah. And they also say that some Miami mall, they said there was a bunch of aliens.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even something like this, like, I was like, oh, it might be cool to like create like figures where, people that have the mask, that are fans of the mask, that they would be like, oh, you know what? I'd buy that and put it on my desk, because it's cool, But
And if you could make it posable too, that'd be awesome.
well, yeah, that's where I wanted to take it to the next level, because George actually collects these little 1/6 scale figures, and some of them are actually silicone, and there's little wire armatures that make them posable. So it's definitely been talked about. If maybe make them a little larger, and even if we just did a very limited run of, I don't know, like let's say we chose 5 characters, and we only make like 200 of each of them. So there's 1,000 toys that we make, and we just put them out there. They're just highly collectible, because we'll probably never do it again. But George and I do this because we like making shit that, like, we always liked when we were kids, and masks and toys and all this shit. I don't know. I feel like it keeps us young, and it never gets old. We love it. I love, mythology and horror movies and video games, and horror and fantasy, sci-fi related TV shows, comic books. I love all that stuff. So, there's plenty of inspiration out there for us to, just keep pushing it and keep going.
Is there anything you want people to look out for? That you have a project you got coming up that people can keep scanning the horizon for?
We did the thing with Activsion. We'll probably if people follow us on Instagram, we'll probably make a post, but there's a new Call of Duty video game coming out, and we did some cool stuff that's kind of out of the normal wheelhouse of silicone mask making. That's cool to share. But yeah, the same thing. If people want to check out the Frankenstein movie, I have a very small part to play in that, but one of our good buddies, Mike Hill, is the main guy that that did a lot of the work on that, and he actually sculpted our Fred mask, which is one of our most popular realistic masks. So, if people watch the Frankenstein film and really like it, and they want to buy a piece of art that Mike, the artist, made it's the Fred mask, which is it's a really cool mask. In fact, that video was a lot of fun to make, and I feel like the hair work on the Fred mask, if you were to get it fully haired, really, it's like probably one of the best disguise masks out there.
Excellent. That's excellent. And your website is immortalmasks.com. I'm really happy to try to help promote your stuff, because I just love this mask. I don't know if you've seen my little dinky YouTube show where I have Zontarski, the monster movie host. And I make fun of the old B-roll, B-movie horror movies like Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I have seen some of your videos. Actually.
Oh, you have? Okay.
And I came across some of your videos because even when I'm sculpting in the sculpting room, like I go on YouTube, and I just kind of, because people will link the Immortal mask to it and stuff. It'll pop up, and I'll be like, oh, okay, and then it'll just kind of like cycle through, and I was like,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, me and some of the artists in here will watch it, and sometimes I watch it because I'm always curious to how it fits and stuff, and because that's an important part to kind of make it look not so human, and your videos are awesome, and it fits you great, and
thanks.
I'm sure if you wear it out in public, I'm sure you get a crazy response, I bet.
Yeah, I might wear it at the door for Halloween this year if my wife approves of it. I was going to do it last year, and she's like, oh no, you might get some weird, because we live in kind of very conservative Midwestern America, where people are like, what Pete wearing that mask for?
I'm definitely thinking about doing an alien theme for Halloween in front of my house this year, just because of that whole interstellar object that's going to be. I just keep fucking people's fears a little bit, but just to throw this out here too. Right now, we're making, which is kind of interesting. We made a new set of sleeves. Our current sleeves that we have are on the larger size to fit like a grown man, but they can be a little loose and stuff. And the alien ones we have are 3-finger. But right now, I'm making a custom mask, an alien mask for a comedian. And he ordered some custom sleeves to go with it. And what we did is we have a new pair of much more snug fitting human sleeves that would probably go with this character. But we basically get patch, and we just patch over the fingernails to make them just look more alien. And if you ever wanted to get some sleeves to match the green, we can talk about that.
I have some cheap ones I bought off of Etsy.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And they're murder trying to get on, and I have to probably have to shave my arms because it rips all my hair out.
There are 4 fingers, so you got to do like some kind of thing with it, or is there 5 fingers?
They are four fingers, but I think I've got to put baby powder in it or something because they stick together. You can't get them open.
Yeah. Those are latex.
And
if you let me know. Since we did the podcast. If you wanted to order some sleeves, tell them that you spoke to Andrew, and I'll give you a little discount.
That'd be awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, having me on here today.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm really glad you accepted, and it was a thrill to meet you guys. Andrew, it's been awesome. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you again. And watch out for Zontarski.
Well, thank you so much for the support, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys have a great night, and thanks so much, and have a fun Halloween.
Thanks. Likewise, you too.
All right, take care.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This is a great show. I had a lot of fun tonight talking to Andrew. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode from PTPOP. Huge thanks again to Andrew Freeman and the entire talented team at Immortal Masks. Thanks so much for giving us a peek behind the curtain and for creating some of the most jaw-dropping masks in the industry. They're really amazing. This is one of them here. This is the alien mask, or Zontarski as I affectionately refer to him, or Sven. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and maybe check under your bed tonight. This has been PTPOP, Mind Revolution. Hasta la vista, baby.